All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Lance Wood with the National Weather Service Houston Galveston office, and I believe we also have Greg Waller on to kind of brief a little bit on our river situation and the forecast that will be going into as far as the amount of rainfall into the rivers here later on in the briefing. Thanks for joining us. As you know, we're going to be talking about the flood threat here across Southeast Texas for the next couple of days. A quick overview. Unfortunately, we have a significant flood threat and it exists across all of Southeast Texas. The main flash flood period, we think, kind of begins tonight and goes through Wednesday night. And I'll talk more specifically about that with some graphics. The issue is we have a very slow moving upper level storm system, and it's continuing to produce rounds of showers and thunderstorms periodically across Southeast Texas, and that'll continue, we think, into Thursday because that upper level system is so slow to move. And again, I'll show you a little bit more details on some of the timing because I know that's been kind of our forecast problem is timing these rounds of thunderstorms, but we're expecting another complex of these to begin to develop here shortly. You saw that the watch was probably just issued. We had a tornado watch just issued for western portions of our area. That's going to be sort of the beginning of a complex of showers and thunderstorms that will get going here this evening, we think, and then that'll likely kind of progress slowly across the area tonight, and we'll talk about that. Really nice graphic that Greg Waller sent from the West Gulf River Forecast Center, kind of shows you kind of what we've already been dealing with the heavy rainfall, and there's been some localized very heavy rainfall. Yesterday, I'm sure many of you saw over in the Lake Charles area, the Beaumont area, or it's over 10 inches of rain in some spots. We saw it this weekend on Sunday morning. Kind of in our southwest areas, Jackson, Matagorda, Wharton County area saw some really heavy rainfall. And then elsewhere, we've just seen some pockets of 5 inches or so developing with slow-moving thunderstorms. So unfortunately, we have more rain on the way, and we're no longer talking about drought, obviously. We've had a lot of rain here in May, and so we're kind of primed now for some flooding with additional heavy rainfall. Current watches, the entire eastern portion of Texas is under a flood watch. You can also see where there's some river flood warnings in effect in the green areas. We also have a coastal flood advisory. It was issued a couple of hours ago for the upper Southeast Texas coast. We had some east winds intensify as some surface low pressure kind of formed off to our west, and is partly responsible to why we have an isolated tornado threat, as well as those low-level easterly winds increasing here early this afternoon, and that's prompted the coastal flood advisory and a small craft advisory in our offshore waters as well. But this flood watch will continue into Thursday morning for Southeast Texas, could even be extended through the day Thursday. We'll just kind of see what happens here over the next couple of days. For additional rainfall, this is the National Weather Service forecast here for a long period of time. Now, this is out through Friday morning. Yeah, that's a lot of orange and red there on the graphic. It's widespread, 48 inches is expected. And unfortunately, we know there's going to be even locally higher amounts than that in some areas. Just hard to pin down those particular areas. But we'll show you some short range guidance that can help a little bit with that. The excessive rainfall outlook for today, you can see the moderate kind of in the pink color. I do believe this will be updated here shortly, and this moderate pink area is going to come a little bit further to the south. That's one of the forecast changes that we've seen in our short range guidance during the day today, as it kind of looked more like northwest portions of Southeast Texas would have the highest flood threat, that may be shifting a little bit further south here as we go into the overnight hours. And then tomorrow and tomorrow night, we should have ongoing convection in the morning and a continued flood threat. Even could be a little bit more significant because we're going to be adding to what happens tonight. So the entire area tomorrow into tomorrow night is under that moderate risk of flooding, which is significant. And then the last one, our day 3 outlook, Thursday into Thursday night, this was actually added recently to this moderate for the southeastern portion of Southeast Texas. You know, a lot of this is going to depend on exactly what does fall, but just painting the picture here that we're expecting sort of a continued flash flood threat even into Thursday, and we're reaching this moderate level, which is unfortunately, you know, numerous areas could see flash flooding, and some of it could be significant, is what the moderate means. The slight is a little bit more scattered in nature, and the moderate is a greater aerial coverage of flash flooding. So I've shown this once or twice before. It's pretty good to look at a short range forecast of what could happen. This is an ensemble of our best high resolution forecast models, and this is centered just on a 24-hour period, so 7 p.m. this evening through 7 p.m. Wednesday. And what this technique does is it sort of uses information from a bunch of different high resolution models and then preserves some of the local details and kind of averages them, then puts back some of the local details. So what's concerning is when you kind of look across all of Southeast Texas, there's these hot spots showing up of 5 to 7, even some little isolated areas of possibly 10 inches showing up. So we think with this signal, even though it may come in a couple of rounds of convection or thunderstorms, we do think some areas are going to see that kind of rainfall locally, 5 to 10 inches. Now, don't get too concerned on exactly which area is being painted in the orange and red. This is kind of just showing you it could really happen pretty much anywhere, and it's kind of spotty. So it'll be kind of spotty in nature where we see those really, really high amounts. I also like to show this to kind of show you how the shower and thunderstorm areas may develop and sort of move, and what we're kind of watching from the meteorologist side. So you kind of look here, 7 p.m. this evening. We already know that we're going to see some shower and thunderstorm development. And I showed you the radar loop when I started out this presentation. It was up on my screen. We're already seeing a few cells kind of developing southwest of Houston, trying to get going. And I think that's going to get going here in the next couple of hours. We saw a severe thunderstorm north of Austin that's also moving east. So we think kind of early this evening, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms start to cluster up kind of west central portions of Southeast Texas as we go into the evening hours. That'll continue. And then kind of by late in the evening, I think it's going to take on more organization. So as we get towards midnight, 1 a.m., we may actually have a full-blown complex of showers and thunderstorms, and probably initially kind of slow moving. And then could push pretty quickly off to our east, but may not. May have some trailing banding, and that's kind of what we're watching in our models that could be problematic in the central areas of Southeast Texas in the early morning hours. And then towards the end of the model run here, you kind of see 6 a.m. It looks like there's going to be another disturbance kind of approaching from the southwest, and could be another area of organized thunderstorms that will affect us during the day on Wednesday. Could be a lull kind of in between these systems, or there could be enough scattered activity between them that is still, aggravating what happens overnight, some in the morning. So it's complicated. We know these are we've seen this over the past couple of days. We get these rounds, they kind of organize and they move out, and then we see a new round maybe develop. So just kind of wanted to paint that picture from one of our better models that we could be dealing with a couple of thunderstorm complexes, one developing kind of this evening into midnight, and then possibly moving off to the east, or it could be, we're not sure on the speed of that. So that's what we're kind of watching in our models. But remember, we've been seeing some 2 to 3 inch an hour rainfall rates. So if this is happening in the middle of the night, wherever we have that complex, we're likely to see some flooding. The severe weather outlook. So the slight risk area was kind of shifted a little bit to the southeast during the day today. And now just in the last 30 minutes, we've actually had a tornado watch issued. And it does cover College Station. It covers west of Houston, back down into Colorado County, up to Houston County, and back to Austin. So again, we are starting to see some showers and thunderstorms developing back in the San Antonio, Austin area, and we'll likely see some additional development, kind of Colorado, Wharton County, Austin County, moving northward here in the next couple of hours. Really, it could be severe wind gusts, could be 1 inch, 1 to 1.5 inch type hail, or isolated tornadoes through the evening hours in the watch area. I kind of spoke to how the east winds came up kind of quickly on us earlier today. We had a quick response to our tide levels getting close to 4 feet above mean lower low water a couple of hours ago. We are moving into a low tide cycle, so you folks down there on the island, it will get better here as we go into the evening, but we do think we're going to see water levels remain 1 to 2 feet above normal as we go through the week. And again, they can kind of fluctuate a little bit with these thunderstorm complexes as they develop and fall apart. It can kind of play havoc with some of your short-term wind forecasts. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and see if if Greg Waller's on, I wanted him to talk a little bit about the rainfall forecast for our rivers.
I just unmuted Greg.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Are you there, Greg?
Thank you, Lance. Can you hear me, Lance?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. What you're seeing is our updated forecast. Your areas, I mean, it's the bullseye for the state right now. That's the bad news. Widespread, 5 to pockets of 7. In the RFC world, the river forecast center world, that's a mean aerial. And we tell everyone there's going to be isolated higher amounts. So we agree with your briefing that where you see the thunderstorms line up, there's going to be pockets of very heavy rain in here. Our forecast, we feel, have captured the aerial extent very well. Even with that, we've got a lot of forecasts from the Trinity all the way down to the Lavaca-Navidad Basin. A lot of action stage and minor. We've got some moderates, Liberty, a couple points on the San Jacinto and the Tribs. A lot of the Lavaca because it was primed from that very heavy rain over the weekend. The San Bernard River, Bowling, and Sweeney. And then we'll also watch your tributaries up towards the College Station area as well. Anywhere there's the locally heavy rain, the thunderstorms, we will probably have to update the forecast because, in this environment, when the thunderstorms line up, like you said, there's going to be some pockets of very heavy rain. We feel fairly confident with the aerial coverage here. We just want everyone to be aware that there's a lot of rain in the forecast. The rivers are going to respond. I can go through and give a briefing, high-level overview on the reservoirs real quick. Lake Livingston, if they get rained on, they're at the level they want to be right now. So any extra rain and runoff, they will have to pass that. Lake Conroe's pretty close in the same boat. They will work with us and they will coordinate with us. When you get over the Brazos, all of the Army Corps of Engineer lakes, they have their flood pools available, but we'll be dealing with the Brazos River Lake limestone on the Navasota. For the Colorado River, the Highland Lakes will be able to hold their water. So everything that you see in the Brazos and Colorado, that's local rainfall falling on it. That's not a reservoir releasing. And then it's just so saturated down Lavaca that we're expecting a lot of moderate to possibly major flooding from this heavy rain. And these forecasts will be updated. We're a 24-hour operation, and we'll be in coordination with the local Houston Weather Forecast Office if we have any significant changes on our river forecast.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that briefing. Okay, at that point, I think we're going to go ahead and